Put on your spectacles, everyone. It is a busy time for Bay Area sports. We got football kicked off. We got some news about playoffs, our teams that have got in, others who are still fighting, and lots of great events happening all around the Bay Area. We cover it all here on Silicon Sports Spectator. Music! Hey, spectators, thanks for joining this week's episode. It is September 11th, and we've got lots of great stories happening all throughout the Bay Area. I think almost every one of our major sports is covered in this episode, so we have a pretty full agenda today. And what better way to kick off than with the news about the 49ers, who had a hard-fought victory, a little sloppy, but nevertheless, a W is a W, beating the Seattle Seahawks. Congratulations to the Niners, but it came at a big price. We got injuries galore. George Kittle's going to be out multiple weeks. This is a hamstring injury. It looks bad. Brock Purdy, our starting quarterback, oh my gosh, he's going to be out. Turf toe, multiple weeks. So we got Mac Jones coming in. That was a smart signing. And while it's not an injury thing, we got rid of Jake Moody. Thought he had solidified things in the offseason, but he looked pretty rough week one, and so he gets waived, and we've signed veteran Eddie Pinheiro. So this could be a situation that we got to monitor here as well to see how he does. He's been out of work for a little bit, but is a known commodity. Yeah, lots of tough stuff for the Niners. I'll focus on one positive story here that just has some nice Bay Area connection. One of George Kittle's backups is tight end Jake Tonga. Jake is a local legend. He is from Los Gatos High and also played collegiately at Cal. He was a walk-on there. He had a touchdown on his first catch in that game against Seattle, so it was great to see him in on the action, and looks like he's going to have an expanded role. So congrats to Jake. Doing Los Gatos proud. A shout out to Double D's, one of my favorite sports bars in downtown Los Gatos. I'm sure they'll be cheering him on there. For week 2, the 49ers will travel to New Orleans, where the Saints will host the 49ers. Saints lost their opener to the Arizona Cardinals and frankly don't look like a very good team this year. So hopefully the 49ers come away with a victory, but we should never take any game for granted. It's the NFL. The Saints are at home for their opener, but hopefully the Niners have enough depth to get it done. Meanwhile, a team that actually does play in San Francisco, Golden State Valkyries, are in the playoffs. Kind of came in stumbling, though. Last week we were celebrating them on a little bit of a hot streak, but unfortunately, Valkyries have slipped with today's loss to the Minnesota Lynx. They are slipped into the 8th seed and will be playing in the first round those same Minnesota Lynx. Lynx have been the top team all year. We have not yet beaten them. I don't know that we've come close. This is going to be a really tough matchup. It's a best of 3 series, so there is very little room for error. This is going to be a tough matchup, but it is certainly exciting that we are in the show. Playoffs kick off this Sunday in Minnesota. And then game 2 will be back, not in San Francisco, actually. The Valkyries get bumped out of Chase Center and then will be playing their playoff game in San Jose at SAP Center. A lot of fans really unhappy about this. Unfortunately, this was a known conflict from the beginning of the season due to commitments that we made. We're going to be hosting the Laver Cup, that's tennis, at Chase Center all that week. So the venue was absolutely going to be unavailable for this first round of the playoffs. That deal was made before the Valkyries were even thought of, so really out of our control. And that's an unfortunate circumstance. As difficult of a situation as this is as good as it can be, I think. Meaning that, hey, we still in the Bay Area. Of course, you're going to get fans. I don't think we lose home court advantage or anything like that. Chase Center is great, and especially the Ballhalla vibes there. But SAP is a wonderful host. They've hosted great basketball events in the past. And little trivia fact, do you even remember that the SAP Center, then just known as the San Jose Arena, in the late 90s or so, actually hosted the Warriors for an entire season when the old Oracle was being renovated. I think it was in 96 or so, and the Warriors needed a new home, and that brand new San Jose Arena was available, and so the Warriors played their games out of there. So I know it's not a great comparison, but at the same time, it's not without precedent. I think this is also great that it's a way that we can show how strong Ballhalla is. The Valkyries community, a lot of people come up from the South Bay all the way to Chase Center, but also gives an opportunity for new fans who maybe don't often go to the city, gives them a chance possibly to get in and get SAP roaring again. I would love to hear you bring that same great Ballhalla energy to make San Jose one of the loudest stadiums that I know it can be. We've seen it before for Sharks playoff games. It seems like a distant memory, but I think the Valkyries can definitely get that done. Meanwhile, for the away games for this series, we'll be on the lookout for some watch parties. I'll be sure to announce those. I know there's some that are being announced right now for Sunday's game, especially at Thrive City, so be sure to check that out. No word yet as to say if we're going to be inside Chase Center for that. Probably not, due to those same tennis commitments, but maybe they are able to put it on the Jumbotron inside. If not, certainly on the outside will be a great place to gather with other Valkyries fans. Let me also give a really cool update, and we've sort of talked this through the entire season, but now it's really all official. Now that the regular season is over, the Valkyries sold out every one of their home games, 22 home games. Every one of those sell out. That means that not only were they the top attended team this entire season, yes, even beating out the popular Indiana Fever, but they also set the entire season record for attendance for all of the WNBA's history. That is incredible for a first-year franchise. The future is so bright for this team, and I can't wait to see them in the playoffs. Congratulations to the Valks, and good luck to you fans trying to get some of those tickets down in San Jose. Well, speaking of teams that play at SAP Center, let's talk about the Sharks. There's preseason just about to kick off. I had a really cool event. The Sharks are doing this Sharks Around the Bay, these little opportunities to meet some of the players. I took my daughter to one of these right here in my hometown of San Ramon. Had a great time. We got to meet at ours, and this was just, it's funny to say, at our local Taco Bell, we got to meet Matthias Havlid and Philip Bierstedt. These are two of our guys who currently play for the Barracuda, a couple of our Swedish prospects. So nice to meet them up close. They were super friendly, signed a couple things for us. We got some cool merchandise. The Sharks team that was there, they gave free tickets to my daughter and I just for us kind of hanging out. So I thought that was a great effort, which made us really excited for the entire season. The Sharks continue their Around the Bay meetups. A couple going on here this weekend. Friday the 12th, they're down in Gilroy, 5 p.m. Then on Sunday, they're in San Mateo. And on Monday, the 15th, they're in Fremont at Sharks Ice. So for all the details, check out the Sharks website for the Sharks Around the Bay program. Usually it's just going to be a couple of the guys out there to sign things. Lots of free giveaways. It's a great accessible fan event. It's not too crowded. Encourage you to check those events out. Sharks have a couple other news items too. Was first of all, congratulations to our first round draft pick from this year, Michael Misa, who just signed his entry level contract. So that most likely means that he will be on the Sharks at some point. May start off the year with the Barracuda. It kind of depends on how things look at camp. It could be that the Sharks take the method just like they did last year with Will Smith, where hey, maybe it wasn't quite ready yet at the beginning, but the best way to learn is just by real-world experience. And certainly by January or so, Will Smith was up and running and looking fantastic. I think they're kind of thinking the same process for Michael Misa here. So let's keep an eye on that. Really excited for him, for the franchise. He's going to be an important corner piece for us for a long time. Hey, another interesting signing for the Sharks. What if I told you the Sharks just signed a Vezina Trophy winner and a former MVP? Well, we kind of did. Carey Price, former goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens, has signed with the Sharks. Kind of. His contract has been dealt with us. We're not expecting him to play at all. He signed a long-term big deal, and that contract was traded to us in a minor trade. And the focus of this really is, you wonder why on earth would we just volunteer to pay this big junk salary for someone that we don't expect to play. The Sharks are kind of right on that border of the salary, not salary cap, but the salary floor. So we need to have a certain amount of dollars there, make sure we don't get below that floor. So in this large contract, even though we're not expecting him to play, is actually helps us out, keeps us above the floor pretty comfortably. We did this last year, even like with Logan Couture. Again, he didn't play for us, in fact, the last 2 years, but yet he had a big contract on the books. So when Logan retired last year, we kind of had this to make up for that large amount. We did that a little bit with some free agent signings and so forth, but having this big contract from Carey Price for the next couple of years or so, this actually helps us out as well. In some ways, it also kind of helps the Montreal Canadiens as well, too, but because it relieves them a little bit from salary cap, gives them a little bit more leeway to sign things. The Canadiens, too, are also one of those franchises that kind of on a similar rebuilding pace as the Sharks, maybe a little bit ahead of us. They made the playoffs last year. A lot of young talent in that one, so we don't want to help them out too much. Nevertheless, this one certainly helps the Sharks get to a pretty healthy place in the financial sense. The last Sharks news item, and this one surprised me a little bit, is assistant GM and former San Jose Shark Ryan Clough unfortunately resigned from his position. It was kind of mysterious why he did this. We weren't really sure. People were wondering if his health was okay. Well, lo and behold, Ryan Clough took the exact same position with the New York Rangers. So I don't know, that one stings a little bit. I always thought of Ryan as a good member of the San Jose Sharks. It's fortunate that he found another deal elsewhere, but that's part of the business of the game. Wish him well, and who knows who the Sharks will backfill that role with. Yet to be determined. I actually don't have any Warriors news still. It's kind of been the story all summer where we just don't have any news stories about them. Most of it, again, regarding transactions and everything, has been everything hinging on this Jonathan Kuminga deal. He has till October 1st to accept the qualifying offer on the Warriors. That's not an ideal scenario, unfortunately. We would have much rather have done a sign and trade or just signed him to a deal. He wanted more money than was being proposed. But what happens with the qualifying offer, of course, is that he'll take it, but then becomes an unrestricted free agent for sure. So we could get nothing in return there. So it's probably looking like the most likely scenario here. He's betting on himself. I'll give him credit for that. But it's been really holding up a lot of other transactions. Let's talk some baseball news, actually. We got the Giants who continue to do pretty well. They're just a game and a half outside of the National League wild card. Did not foresee them being in the race for that, but they are looking good. The Reds are also right there as well, kind of right on the cusp too. Maybe even the Diamondbacks a couple games behind us still in the standings. But what's been really helpful, all in all, is that the New York Mets have been really collapsing. They're on a 6-game losing streak, and the Giants have been on a pretty healthy run here the last few weeks. So we're back in business. I was at Tuesday's game this past week. That was against the Diamondbacks, and just a fun game. That was a win. It was kind of a really soft, misty rain happening throughout the game. Had a great feel and vibe to it. Now, outside of the Giants, our local minor league teams are entering their playoffs right now. The Oakland Ballers, having just secured the top record of all time in the Pioneer League, are about to kick off their playoffs at Raimondi Park. And the San Jose Giants will be hosting playoff games with the top seed for their AA level playoffs. Lots of good things happening for our local baseball teams. Do go out and support your teams, whether they be playoff games or just these important ones where we are fighting for playoff positioning. All right, how about over to soccer? First off, with the Earthquakes, just this big match coming up this Saturday at Levi Stadium. That's right, the Earthquakes are going to be hosting in this special venue LAFC. That's right. And guess what? Silicon Sports Media is going to be there covering the game. That's right. I'm credentialed and ready to cover that one. So how about this? You submit some of these questions. I get to do post-game interviews with the squad. Don't know who's going to be there, but likely at the very least we'll have Coach Arena there. So what do you think? What are some questions that you want to know? Leave some questions in the comments, and possibly I'll be able to send along those questions, get those answered if appropriate and if the vibe is right. So make those questions good one. I'd love to get that fan input, and I'm excited to be covering at Levi Stadium. Get to know the lay of the land there a little bit from a media standpoint. Shout out to Ryan and the media relations team at the Earthquakes for agreeing to get me credentials for that. Do appreciate that always. And for the ladies of PayPal Park, that's right, Bay FC. Some important club news is that Coach Montoya announced that he will not be re-signing with the club. He is out at the end of the season. I really liked him. The chances that I got to meet him, he was great to interview. He was very welcoming to me as a new member of the press. And so for that reason, I really liked him, a genuine guy. I do think that Bay FC, though, probably, it's hard to say if they underachieved this year. Last year when it's their first year in the club, they make the playoffs and make some noise. But unfortunately, we were expecting to improve from that. And that didn't happen so much this year. Still got about 6 games left, so there's a chance, maybe make a late run here. But right now we're sitting in 12th. Need a lot of help to move up in the standings there. Our next matchup this weekend is against the Orlando Pride, pretty strong team, though they are without their top player and reigning MVP Barbara Banda, who's out with a season-ending injury. But nevertheless, they remain a very strong threat. AFC, we've been on this long winless streak at this point. Would love to get some points at least, but certainly we certainly need to stacking up those W's right now if we have any chance of making the playoffs. Wish them luck. And Coach Montoya, we wish you very well next year. So that's all our team news for today, but we do have just some other news happening around the Bay Area. First of all, going on beginning today and through the weekend, PGA Golf is up in Napa. That's right. The Pro Core Championship is happening right now through Sunday. It's at the Silverado Club up there in Napa. Interesting to see professional golf. I don't think there's a lot of big name players up there, but still it's about the highest level of competition that you can get. Great opportunity. It's going to be good weather this weekend. Check that out. If you're a big time planner and you're eyeing World Cup 2026, which does come to Levi Stadium, now's the time to get you in your ticket request. That's right. Go to the FIFA website. You can put in for the ticket lottery. These are going to be literally the world's hardest tickets to get. But for those matches, and we don't even know what the exact schedule is about who's going to be playing at Levi's, nevertheless, put in your requests for that. Maybe you could resell them at a huge profit, but it is a lottery to get in and get the opportunity to get those tickets. I believe that Levi's will host at least 2 matches, possibly more, just locally, but it does give you the opportunity as well that there's other cities, Canada, Mexico, or here in the United States. If you're interested in traveling to one of those over the summer, attend one of those games in person, that is also the same place that you would go to put in for these tickets. You definitely don't want to be paying resale prices. So if you can, get into the lottery. It's free to join the lottery and it's non-committal. So it's probably worth doing. So do throw your name into the mix. And speaking of World Cup, we're going to switch sports, and that's Rugby World Cup. That's right. The Women's Rugby World Cup is happening right now. Now, unfortunately, Team USA, which is represented in this, was just eliminated. Unfortunately, though, they did go off with quite the bang. Actually, their final match of the tournament was a 60-0 beatdown of poor little Samoa. So congratulations to the U.S. Eagles and their squad. I did want to give a shout out too because 3 of the ladies on the Team USA roster, Olive Kelter, Catherine Treater, and Bulo Matatoga, are 3 members of our local women's elite rugby squad. That's right, we have a team right here in the greater Bay Area, and that's the Bay Breakers. They play actually in Lodi, but I bring this up because I'm hoping to be covering with them. I was able to connect with their franchise and the Women's Elite Rugby League, and I'm hoping to do an interview with them very soon. So we'll be talking a little bit about women's rugby, especially our Bay Breakers. Phenomenal. If you haven't ever tuned into rugby, my goodness, it is a phenomenal sport to watch. I am really excited to celebrate this. It's great that we have some Bay Area representation and would love to help support them. So in the coming weeks, watch out for that interview with Bay Breakers. When their season kicks off in the spring, I will certainly be there to watch them make the trek out to Lodi. One more positive update I'm pleased to share, and that is on the 49ers Talk Show. That's a popular podcast, the official one for the 49ers. Matt Miyoko had a very special guest on that show, and that is Greg Papa, who we talked about a few episodes back now, where, again, Greg Papa, the longtime voice of the 49ers radio, was diagnosed with cancer, but had Greg on his podcast, and Greg was able to provide an update. Officially cancer-free, though he is still very much fighting things. It actually was a very close call, so I appreciate him, how he's been fighting, but I know he talked about the level of great support that he's gotten from the Bay Area sports community, strangers even, giving him a lot of support. And he looked pretty good. He said he's officially cancer-free, but he is still going through some really aggressive treatments to make sure that cancer stays away. But it was great to hear and get an update about him. Do check out that podcast. That's the 49ers Talk podcast. They do some great work there, and I was really pleased that they were able to provide an update on Greg. Now, I appreciate everyone tuning in and getting your weekly updates here on this podcast, but for additional content throughout the week, as you're waiting for this Thursday episode to drop, you can also follow me now on socials. That's right. I've given in and started a little bit of a social media presence. I would appreciate your follows and likes and comments and all that. So you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on X, and you can see all about us, everything that we're up to at siliconsportmedia.com. That's our website. It includes our blog. It includes events. It includes lots of good stuff happening. I welcome your feedback there. I even posted a little bit on Reddit. That was probably a career mistake because as soon as I did that, it was pretty much attacked. So I'll have to learn how to navigate that a little bit and see if I could build up enough scar tissue to want to do that again. But yeah, that is a crazy environment there. But hey, it drives traffic. In the coming weeks too, I'll be, in addition to lining up a couple of other interviews, I'm hoping to work on a little bit of local presence here. I'm going to stop by some sports bars and other Bay Area businesses, just hoping to get my name out there a little bit, push for subscriptions, all that, seeing what people let me do and advertise a little bit. Some little things brewing up there right now, so anxious to share a little bit more as that develops. But as always, I am glad that you tuned in today. I am always happy to cover our local Bay Area sports scene with you, celebrating the fan experience, celebrating our local sports culture, all that and more here on Silicon Sports Spectator. We'll see you next time. I'm Joe. I'm out.